agenda. So for great. All right. We have a community associate position that we've talked about before. We crafted all of the language for posting. Lucy, Lucian, I think
So
Alice.
you lost Vera, so you lost your quorum. Yeah, you need 5.
She's coming back, hopefully.
It was very hard to get in, trust me. And I'm pretty good. It took me, I was very tenacious.
Really?
Yes,
It was nice to see you today.
you too. It was a nice event. We went to the Battery, Paul, which was really nice. Elizabeth was there too. It was a great event.
I learned more about Worry Price than I ever knew before.
Oh, I knew all of the story. I always get to sit next to her husband, so but I knew all about it. It's a great story. She's really quite something.
She is something. It was a great event. I thought it was, I thought her speech was fabulous, and I thought her story was fascinating. Yeah, I'm glad we all went.
We're very lucky to have her in CB1 because the Battery would not be anything that it is today without her leadership. So
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
It's amazing, and you just have to keep fighting. I guess Carl's wife from the Tribeca trip said to me, "What would you like on the community board?" I said, "Power. I'd like power."
you and me both.
Her name is April, by the way.
Yeah.
I see Vera back on. I don't know. Do we have quorum? Yeah.
We do with Vera here, so we can keep going.
Okay. Amazing.
Okay, so Lucian, can you tell us? We finished having the job description done. Do you know if Nanda has posted that on the city site?
Yeah, I checked in with her today for an update. We gave it to her last week. She said that it should be live tomorrow. She'll send us the posting. She'll send it out to all the community boards and to the borough president's office.
So may I ask a question?
Yep.
So even though we have the candidate we want, we have to go through this, if I remember correctly. Am I correct?
Yep.
Okay. I
don't think we have a candidate. We have a candidate that's interested. Sorry to interrupt, Tammy. I don't mean to step on your toes. We have someone that's interested.
Oh, okay. I got it. Thank you, Lucy.
I'm so sorry.
Always keep me on my toes.
Yes, we are looking forward to seeing all of the qualified candidates who wish to throw their hat in the ring.
Okay, got it.
So the goal is, if it gets posted this week and it goes public, we will be collecting resumes. We'd like to schedule a personnel meeting to interview people. We'll take a look through whatever qualified candidates we can initially get. We'll share all the resumes. I'd like to go a little bit quicker. So if we share the resumes and we find a couple of applicants who are good, schedule them to interview at the next personnel meeting in November. And if none of them are, qualified or acceptable, we can keep going through the resumes, but at least try and get a few people who have expressed their interest to see if we can get them scheduled for an interview. Does that work for personnel for November?
Works for me.
Yeah, works for me.
Yeah, it works for me too.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Wait, so Tammy, when are we posting? I'm sorry, when are we posting the position?
Lucian, we already gave it to the city to post, and Nanda told Lucian, what did she say, by tomorrow, maybe, Lucian?
Yeah, she says that she expects it to be fully processed and up so she can send it out with the job number tomorrow.
Okay.
Which will get us basically on board. The goal would be to find a qualified candidate, have them hired and on board by the end of the year. I mean, let's be honest, just moving on. I have some information that does anybody have any questions about that before I continue? Awesome. Okay. Then we have the BMCC paid internship discussion and possible resolution. At executive the other night, many people asked about the other institutions in Lower Manhattan and whether or not we would be reaching out to them. It is a process to do, and we can. I think that we would be potentially best served at the moment, and this is again my personal, because BMCC has not only been a board member, but has looked to engage with the community board in many ways and has been responsive when we even discussed this. So we can reach out to some of the private institutions, and the funded ones like Pace, who's downtown, and others. For now, if we get started with BMCC, we can refine and work through our kinks, so to speak. They have sent us 2 job descriptions that they have had with paid internships with the Borough President's Office and Assemblymember News Office. So we know, and I can share those if Lucian lets me share my desktop. Let's see, what are those?
You see,
Okay, give me 1 sec. Let me download that.
does that help?
Here, hold on a sec here. Okie dokie. I will share my screen so you can see. I got that right. There we go. Okay. So this is from Yulee News Office for 2017, what they did, and you can see how it's worded. Obviously, the opportunity. The most important thing that BMCC said that they need is obviously the direct responsibilities, the qualifications of what we're looking for, and whether or not it is paid or unpaid. The one that was done with Yulee was unpaid. So let me,
We're going to pay.
we are going to pay. Let me
So-
pause my sharing. Hold on a quick sec.
It's only open to BMCC?
Right, when you do these, it's a process that you have to file. So we're going to go through this with BMCC, which is the community college, and it's a
Right.
city organization, and
Yeah.
go through the work with them first. We can open it up to other organizations, but we have to go through their process for what they need as well. It's not like you just post it and then it goes to the schools. If you actually want to do it with the schools, it is a little bit better to understand exactly how they are, their needs for their community. Here's the other one that they shared with me. Okay, this was from Gail's office. And again, you can see the responsibilities of each unit, of what they do, the qualifications, and whether it's voluntary or paid or unpaid. We were talking about pay with BMCC on a part-time basis, making above minimum wage or above, depending on what we have with budget. Now, with budget, we have an opportunity that we can either pay them out of excess budget money that we have with the city, or we can pay it out of street fare. So
Are we talking about hiring someone on a semester by semester basis?
we did talk to them on a semester by semester because it's only 2 years. We actually said what we would prefer is somebody January to December. So it would be full year. Because otherwise, I think the load where we need people the most is really at the end of what the college spring is. So their summer into the fall. So if we went January to December, that gives us an opportunity to train, have them come up to full speed, right? Really know what they're doing for Q2, 3, and 4, and then go through the process again. I mean, Paul, you've done the DM role, you know the office. Thoughts?
we've had interns in the past. They're, mixed bag. You have to work with them and spend time with them. So, but I think it's a good experience, as you say, and hopefully we could find somebody who, you know, does a decent job in addition to getting good experience and pay. So it works for both parties. And let's see what happens. Yeah, I don't see a real downside. I mean, it's really going to be on Lucy and Lucian to oversee, I assume, whoever we hire. Maybe you too, Tammy.
Yeah, I think it's, the goal is to have it be really functional, and BMCC, when we approached them and talked to them, they were willing to do an initial, kind of dialogue and conversation through their career center with interested students. So it gave us a level of, they wouldn't just send us a student who didn't have any curiosity or desire, that they're really looking at their new political studies and sciences division to have kids come over from that. So at least it'd be the most important thing, like everybody else knows. If you have no passion for it, you might as well, I mean, there's no use. So
Also, Tammy, just keep in mind that if you're doing it January to December, you're not going to get people who are graduating. So whatever is it BMCC's 2-year college, right? So you're not going to be getting people in that second year if they're on that track, right? Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Because they may be already moving on.
yeah,
So just keep that in mind. I mean, I don't know if that's something
you're getting
that's an
kids.
issue.
You're getting kids who are coming in.
Exactly.
Yeah, you get kids who started in September who are going to end the following June. Yeah.
So you're limiting the pool to people who are really just starting. I'm not sure that's a great idea, but if you think that's fine, but you may not have people who already have a year under their belt.
It's, we can try, and if it doesn't work,
Okay.
we can adjust. It's something that we haven't done on the community board in a long while. I don't think we've ever done it as a paid thing.
Right.
So it's going to be.
That would be great. I mean, honestly, if we're doing it as a paid thing, that is something that would be very in demand in my opinion. Like when I was in college, I mean, it was a long time ago, but very few things were paid, especially during the school year like that, So
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of, and my excitement, and Lucy's going to kill me for saying this, but my excitement that doing this, if we can pay it out of street fair or excess budget, is that leaves me an intention. Lucy, close your ears. That in due course, in due time, that we'll be able to give Lucy a raise as well.
Here, here. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And just have, just run a good team that way.
Yeah.
I see Jeff's hands up, and he's also in the attendee section. Hi, Jeff. And Pat. Lucian, can you move both over and see what they would like to say?
Absolutely. Here I go.
I was just saying, put me in the participant section, but I agree that it's worth trying to have an intern if we can get a qualified candidate. Even a first year might be sufficiently motivated to do a good job. It's, to Paul's point, I think it requires a fair amount of work on our own staff's part to take in someone that junior, but sometimes you can get some pretty good people.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. Pat?
Sorry, I've been trying to get in for a while. So did I miss how much we're paying, number one? I hear that it's a first-year student, number two, but are we looking for a student studying a certain, are they urban design students? Are they?
So BMCC, when we spoke with them about it, they have a new program at BMCC, which is, let me take a look. She said political science major. That is new, that, because they're trying to find people who have a interest in government and public affairs. So they're specifically, talking with that student body, basically.
And how much are we thinking of paying them, and what do we want them to do? And this doesn't replace the students that we have come in and do certain projects, does it?
No.
Okay.
No. This would be somebody who would be more in line with, some of the tasks. We have to work on that with Lucy and Lucian to specifically and Onej to carve out which specific tasks based on how many hours a week are really reasonable to support constituency, right? That's the most important thing, to make sure everybody gets covered and people's 311 complaints are followed up on, or to make sure that I'll just use licensing, Susan, because you're there, to make sure that the applicant has filed all the proper paperwork, and to be able to support the office with the back end on it, especially during the busier months, to have another set of eyes that says, yes, check, check, check. Here's your file, your check is all done, everything's in it. And that's, or to support the meetings, to make sure that whether it's Lucy or Lucian or Onej has everything that's needed for the meeting, right? When we're back in person, where's the stip sheets? Are we, are they signing? Do we have everything ready? All of those kinds of things that take up time during a meeting that we don't need to be spending on the back end, that we find ourselves spending. Having someone who can learn the ins and outs of the mechanism from the front, and then understand what happens in the meeting and how it all connects in the political process of a community board, I think would be a great experience. And it's limited. They're only, we have to take a look at the full budget to see on paying minimum wage to $20 an hour max, kind of a thing, somewhere in that range, to figure it out. That's a budget thing that we will have to take a look at with Mariama in terms of pay.
Yeah,
Here's another
also, one thing I want to say is that we need to make sure we design this program so that the expenditure is under $20,000, because anything above that goes from micro purchase to small purchase, and it's very unwieldy for an office this size to go through all the controller approval things to go through it. It's murder, and it actually will be it'll be more restrained than a help if we get to that point. So we just have to make sure we design it to stay under $20,000, unless the controller raises the level of micro purchase, which I don't know if that's ever going to happen anytime.
And one more question. Is it semester by, are we going to hire them for one semester, a whole year, next year do we hire somebody else? Okay.
January to December. Well, because college, usually they end in the middle of May, which doesn't really work for the community board. So we wanted it to bridge the summer. In order to bridge the summer, you want to then get them when they start back in August. So because of the timing of the way college works versus, for example, regular high school, for argument's sake, it has to be for a January to December, because they leave mid-December once their finals are done. They're basically, by the time of the full board, they're on vacation.
Are we interviewing them like we normally do? We're employees. Are we having the school suggest people? Are we just leaving it open that they will just post the job and then people will apply? How are we going to handle that?
The school is doing some work on it to make it successful. So they sent us a resume this week of a student saying this is a student who we think might be a good fit, but before we have a discussion with them, we need the job description and the tasks and the hours, which we're working on, but we wanted to have a thorough discussion of it in personnel first to go forward.
Thanks.
So my sense is, and correct me if I'm wrong, probably as a student, they wouldn't work more than 10 hours a week, 10 or 12,
Right.
and that you could give them more money to work in the summer when we would need them. And hopefully if they work out your training, so you're within that threshold of the amount we want to give. Okay. That makes sense.
Thank you, Susan. Perfect. So I don't know, Lucian and Lucy, do we need a resolution for this? Or because it's a paid position, or you think we're just good to go from this point with reporting to committee?
What kind of things would you like?
I don't think you technically need a resolution for anything for a micro purchase.
Do you want to
But I think if you're going to be interviewing, then we can just roll it all together at that point.
Okay. That works for
So
me.
no need for action at this moment, is what I'm saying.
Perfect. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Because if not, this will be the fastest community board meeting we've ever had at 6:23. The one thing I will tell you is I do need my recommendation for November, because we will be interviewing for the community associate position, is that we double up a personnel committee on another night that we have something else, because we will be running after November 3rd with Onej and Lucian only in the office. So it would be most appreciated if we could figure out a night that it's not a separate meeting, and that it is a night where we already have a meeting rolling somewhere. Does that work for everybody?
You mean before a meeting? You want to do it at, say, 5 o'clock is what you mean?
I was thinking 5:30 to 6, if we can get 2 people to interview, 3, starting on the assumption that we get 2 or 3 people, it would be 15 minutes an interview. I don't think we would need significantly more than that if we've read the resumes. And if so, then let's take a look at the November calendar and figure out what night works for most. I'm like looking, saying, I think everyone's on waterfront and parks, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't think Susan is.
No, neither am I.
Okay, that's 2 down. What do you think?
Why not before the executive committee?
If I have nothing on, I will have something on my agenda. Okay, fine.
But if we meet at 5 or 5:15, we can all make an effort, and it shouldn't last more than that, Tammy.
I'm totally fine with that if that works for everybody.
What day is that again for November?
17th.
The
17th. It's Thursday the 17th, and we can make it the first half hour of executive. And then the only other thing I know I have so far for executive is the Educational Alliance is going to come to talk about their suggestions for 5 World Trade.
Tammy, the 17th is the Gateway Tenants Annual Meeting.
What time do you kick off?
6? Well, yeah, I have it 6 in my calendar. I suppose I need to check my notes on whether we will actually start at 6 or 6:30 or 7.
So if we started at 5 or 5:15 and got you out by 6, would that be okay, Jeff?
That'd be fine with me. Yes, yeah, because it's a remote meeting.
It's 6:30. You're sorry, I've got it. It's 6:30, Jeff. Your meeting.
Okay. All right.
It's in person as well as.
No, it's not in person anymore. We haven't sent out the
Okay.
advice notice. It's only going to be remote.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So then that sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
We'll just have to guarantee we're done by 6 so Jeff can go and get himself prepped for his next meeting.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yes.
Awesome. So let's get Nanda on the stick. Let's get our candidates in, and hope we have somebody great to interview in November and get this moving.
Okay, so we're saying November 17th, tentatively, like 5:15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we don't get a ton of resumes, then we'll do 5:30.
Right. Okay.
Okay. All right. With that, does anybody have anything else? Oh, I have one other thing. Dang, I keep forgetting. We just got notification from the borough president's office today, and that with the emergency order extension, that all community board meetings can be extended virtually again. The new one hits till
21st.
So are we in person tomorrow night or
Remote.
remote? Oh, fantastic. Okay.
So
It seems most people prefer the remote. I know you may not be in that.
I used to not be in that category either, but it is logistically a lot easier to do the remote. That's for sure.
But I think sometimes we let people talk too much.
We definitely do,
I
Correct.
sort of agree.
That happens in person. right?
including myself.
Well, you have, I think
No.
in person, Pat, you have a little more control. You can give them a
You can always
dirty.
mute. See, you can mute them when we're remote.
But Pat, what ends up happening is when we're in the room, people feel the room, right?
Mhm.
So let's just say it's you talking on, and then Susan's like, ah, right? And I turn to Jeff and I'm like, geez, Pat's talking a long time. And Paul pipes up and says, Pat, you said that twice.
Hit that remote button.
And all of that happens in person, and that keeps the meetings tidy, right? We can hit mute, but then I get yelled at later. It's my constitutional right, I got cut off.
People
So
have said that in person.
that's true.
I mean, right,
We're,
but and
we're
plus,
going down the road of 2 minutes.
when we're in
Actually, they-
person, those places, the venues often have a deadline, right? We have to be out by a certain hour. So
Well, and people need to get home to have dinner or whatnot, which they
yes.
do
Lucian's got a
outside
hand
during
up,
remote.
or
Oh.
Lucy, I don't know who.
So for this next month round, I want to encourage everyone who's here, who's not a chair, to ask the chair to limit debate for what they think is a reasonable amount of time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And then the chair's response could definitely be, all right, everybody, 1 minute. And if you're repeating yourself, I'm going to ask you to move on. And we're going to try that more for this month, just to try to create and reinforce some of those online norms that, like you all say, don't really exist in the internet space, but do exist in person. So let's see if we
Yeah,
can
that clock also. Pull out that clock.
pull the clock out.
That countdown clock. We love it.
Well, I
Right.
think much like I don't remember who said it, where we had a limit you had to be out of the room by. We're going to set an expectation at full board this month. We finished full board by 9:30 last month, and we started significantly later due to the holiday. There is no reason that we can't manage the same thing this month. So, again, what I need everyone who's on personnel, if you hear somebody going on, none of you need to be unmuted. You just unmute yourself and say, that's enough.
It's that countdown clock.
All right. All right.
All right, I can take that.
All
All
right.
right. You got it.
All right. Thank you.
Power.
All right. Lucian, anything else? Your hand's still up.
Oh no, nothing else.
Perfect. So with nothing else to share, thank you for the support. Thank you for your time on the personnel committee at 6:31. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Don't move.
Thank you. Have a nice
Okay.
night. See y'all.
Yep, good night
Bye.
all.
Thank
Bye
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night,
everybody.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.